Well, these are two red-hot football teams. If you like offense and you like victories, well, these two teams have it for you. San Diego is coming in having won 9 in a row. They have a chance to lock up the #2 seed in the AFC with a victory tonight. For the Tennessee Titans, after an 0-6 start, they've won 7 of their last 8. Tennessee needs to win their last 2. They'll still need help. San Diego has won the coin toss, and they have elected to receive. Darren Sproles back deep to receive the kickoff for the San Diego Chargers as Rob Bironas will get this game underway on Christmas night. Sproles from his own 9 fakes a little gadget play out across the 30 and tackled at about the 33-yard line, and that's where San Diego will take over. 1st and 10, led by their quarterback, Philip Rivers.
Now, when you start looking at this offense in San Diego, it all starts with Philip Rivers, like we just talked about. But the biggest thing you see in him, and you can talk about the toughness and the balls downfield, but this is a matured quarterback. He understands the game, he sees the whole field, and this team responds to him, Bob.
Norv Turner, the head coach, so enthusiastic about the way Rivers has handled things. We'll talk about that relationship between play caller and quarterback. Rivers to Jacob Hester, tackled at the 36-yard line by Gerald McGrath, linebacker for the Tennessee Titans. And Tennessee has had to deal with a whole bunch of injuries. They lost kind of their heart and soul last week. And Josh Bullock, he's out with a knee injury. They didn't have Thornton, so they got some young linebackers that San Diego wants to exploit.
And they have athletic skills and they have the ability to run, but the leadership that they lost with Bullocks, that's what they're concerned about.
LaDainian Tomlinson, he has a 1st down out to the 46-yard line, a gain of 10 on the play.
We take a good look at this Chargers offensive line and how they work together. And to me, this is one of the better offense. In fact, I'd put this group in the top 5 in the National Football League. This is an outstanding offensive line. They get on you, they stay on you. And LaDainian Tomlinson knows how to use them.
Go to a 2 tight end formation on a 1st and 10. Tomlinson again. Tomlinson takes it to midfield before he gets turned back after a gain of 5. Well, when you talk about LaDainian Tomlinson, you're talking about one of the greats of all time, Matt, as far as running back. He's not having the year that he's had in the past, only 3.3 yards per carry. But over the last couple of weeks, it seems as if he's getting better.
Yeah, you can see it. And then in probably the last month of the season, you're starting to see that little bit of sprite back into his legs. He's got the spring, the jump cuts, he's seeing things faster, and he's more comfortable with the offense, particularly where he fits with Darren Sproles.
Yeah, and he says he really welcomes Sproles as a guy to spell him. 2nd and 5, looks like a false start on the left side of the offensive line for San Diego.
False start, offense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
The left tackle Marcus McNeil. Good to see Tony Correnti and his crew working with us tonight on Christmas night. We saw them on Thanksgiving. You know, when you're talking about LT and that running game with Sproles, and you know, he just said it's like when we had Michael Turner. You know, I like to have a guy that could spell me a little bit. And he said, the way we work on our running game is in the game, not in practice. Sproles in motion. Antonio Gates fits the penalty yardage back up, takes it just across midfield. Stephen Tulloch, outstanding 4th-year middle linebacker out of North Carolina State, makes his 113th tackle. Matt, how do they work on the running game in the game?
And that's the way the whole game is played on both sides of the ball. But you go out to practice, and you're not coming off the ball fast, and the defense isn't moving as well. And so really in these first 2 series, there's a lot of adjustments that are going on. And you're seeing how your line is going in against their line, and that's the real speed of the game, and that's where you make your adjustments.
Rivers can't get it to Gates. Got pressure from Vincent Fuller.
And this is one of the things that this Tennessee defense has not done very well. They've not gotten a lot of sacks. They have gotten pressure. You can see him coming off the edge. And Chuck Cecil, their defensive coordinator, talking to him just before the game, they know they have to get pressure. It doesn't have to necessarily end in a sack, but they do have to get Rivers uncomfortable.
Mike Cyphers to punt. Kevin Case-Faharn, a fair catch at the 20-yard line. Chris Johnson. A quick 25. Quentin Jammer on the tackle.
You said it right, quick. I want to show you what we were talking about. This is the patience. And speaking to LaDainian Tomlinson about this, that's what impressed him so much, was the was the patience of the young running back. He has great patience. John Riggins used to call it runner's patience, the point of patience. In the middle of the run, where you have to just let it happen and then take off.
They'll feed it to Johnson again. This time it's about 2 before he got knocked down on the play. Paul Oliver on the tackle. And you get a look at quarterback Vince Young. He said when you hand the ball off to Chris Johnson and start running, it's like eating popcorn and watching a movie. Just sit back and relax. But he has played very well since taking over starting quarterback.
Yeah, and there's a maturity about him that was absent before. And it's recognized not only by the coaches, but the team. And the team has really responded to him.
2nd and 9. Young has a first down in Charger territory. Gain of 12 to Nate Washington, the former Pittsburgh Steeler.
You know, I mentioned to you about the San Diego Charger offensive line, and I thought that was one of the top 5 lines that we watched. And, oh, by the way, the offensive line of this Tennessee Titans team, this is one of the best offensive lines in football as well. They don't give up sacks. Every year, they run the ball effectively. And I think Mike Munchak, their offensive line, just might be the best offensive line coach in all of football.
And they got a 7-time Pro Bowler, Kevin Mawai, to anchor things at center. Young, Johnson in space. Hang on to the 28. Pickup of 13.
The thing about Chris Johnson that you watch, a lot of times start talking about speed and all that stuff. He doesn't really juke you a lot. He doesn't, one of those guys is going to really make you miss. He's just so smooth and goes from one move to the other, and it's effortless. And oh, by the way, he changes gears with his speed effortlessly.
It's like watching those Indy cars, the way they move in and out of traffic, but they never slow down.
He's a little faster than them.
Johnson gets a yard to the 28-yard line. Good surge that time by the front of the San Diego defense. You know, that talking with some of the Chargers people beforehand, they just said the one thing that you worry about with their team is their run defense, because they lost Jamal Williams. They've had some problems and injuries on the defensive line. Merriman's been nicked up. Phillips has been nicked up. That's the one area that does have them concerned.
But they've adjusted. And there's Mike Munchak, the offensive line coach, and their adjustment. They were talking about Mike Munchak and the type of offensive lines that they put out year in and year out.
Second and 10 for Young. Pass tipped. He's looking for Kenny Britt, the rookie out of Rutgers. Alfonso Boone got a hand on it. Alfonso Boone signed as a free agent this year. They've had to mix and match some guys on that defensive front for San Diego.
I think their defensive coordinator, Ron Rivera, has done just a great job of figuring out where his defense is and then adjusting. Because you do lose a guy like Jamal Williams, and that's a big hole to fill. And how they've done it is they've really turned into Jim Johnson's Philadelphia, Jim Johnson's zone blitz schemes.
Blitz on Young. Washington dropped it with Merriman in pursuit.
That was just numbers. And this is what I was talking about with Jim Johnson in Philadelphia, the late Jim Johnson. And Ron Rivera worked under him. And sometimes if you don't have the people, then you attack protections. And the way you attack protections in today's football is with numbers. They have 4 in, you bring 5. They keep 3, you bring 4. Always working to get the extra man.
Rob Bironas kicked the game winner last week against Miami. Will attempt a field goal from 46 yards out. Got plenty of leg, and it is good. Tennessee gets a Bironas field goal on their first offensive possession. Bironas will kick off with a 3-0 lead. Sproles averaging 25 yards of return from his own 3. Dumped at about the 24-yard line, 20-yard return. Second offensive possession for San Diego. LaDainian Tomlinson hit in the hole by Chris Hope and tackled after a gain of 2. Well, Philip Rivers knows a thing or two about winning. They've got a 9-game winning streak, and Matt, he has been clutch when you get into the month of December.
Oh no, he's been at the top of the charts, and I think it's the way he conducts himself, and really the way he is. I mean, he walked into meet us last night, had his baseball hat on, a vintage flannel shirt, and I knew I liked him right away because his feet are planted firmly on the ground. No errors about it.
Vincent Jackson with his first catch tumbles to the 29-yard line, tackled by Cortland Finnegan after a gain of 3. And Matt, I mean, you take a look at his Decembers, and they're Decembers to remember.
Yeah, not too shabby right there with the company he keeps, but he's gotten better. He's gotten better this year as the season's gone on, and so has their team. And really, that's the way it should be. Your team should follow your leader. He's clearly their leader.
So in the last couple of years, they might have bought into the hype about all their talent. Because this year, we're taking it game by game. And a flag flies. Was it false start against San Diego? Jacob Ford of Tennessee also jumped.
That guy right there, Chuck Cecil, their defensive coordinator.
Neutral zone infraction, defense number 78. Step across the line of scrimmage, causing an offensive player to false start.
The penalty is on Ford.
And you look at Chuck Cecil, and that could give them a first down right there. Will that give them a first?
Very close.
Looks like it's going to. That's a first.
First down.
It does result in the first down. I hadn't moved the change just yet, but now they do.
With Chuck Cecil, when he played, was a guy who he reminded me of Doug Plank. He'd try to hit anything very, very intense. And he takes that intensity, and that's the way he approaches coaching. And you can see the intensity as it filters down through into his defense. Same approach. And that head man there, he's the same way.
Rivers on a 1st and 10. That's Floyd after a gain of 12. Finnegan on the tackle.
Now, Malcolm Floyd, we talked about the size of the receivers on the front end. Here's what you do. That's a big 6'5" Malcolm Floyd, 230 pounds against Cortland Finnegan. Finnegan's a smaller man, maybe about 185 pounds. And what he makes you do is he makes you have to play through the size of the receiver. And they make you do it for 60 minutes.
Rivers to throw on first, and he's got Jackson past the defense, and it's knocked away by Nick Harper.
Well, Harper played that really well at the end of that play. Did you watch that?
He did.
Excellent.
And Matt, also, there is some breeze here in the stadium, and Rivers was throwing back into it because Jackson had him beat.
And he let the ball hang up. Watch, he's going to get on top of Harper. Now watch Harper. Watch his head. See, he knows. Watch the eyes. That was fantastic. See how he watched the eyes? Receiver looks, he looks. Now, he got beat on top, but he was able to recover. The ball hung up, but he did everything right, stuck to his technique, and made the play.
And an assist to the win.
Yeah.
Because
I won't say it.
Because Rivers had him. Little screen to Tomlinson. Trips on the turf.
Oh, nice tackle by the 45-yard line.
Of 2 on the play. It was set up pretty nicely.
It was, and he had blockers out in front of him, and this is one of the things this offensive line does well. They're good in space. And what I mean by that is when you get out in the open field, it's not the easiest thing in the world to block somebody in space. And that's a guy with nobody, all by yourself. You have to eye them up.
Keith Bullock out with a knee injury, got hurt last week.
And there's a guy who is excellent in space.
They could use him tonight, especially in situations like this, where Rivers loves to go to Antonio Gates, the tight end. Rivers instead gets the first down to Jackson to the 33, gain of 20.
Well, that's a nice 20-yard dig. And when you run routes like that, you have to have protection. And of course, it all starts up front. And it's a six-man protect. They have everybody. Now, he does get some pressure. He's able to hold on to it right to the end. And here's the toughness you talk about, and there's the accuracy on the other end.
Matt, one of the keys there, too, though, was he had a pocket to step up in. The pressure actually came from behind.
Comes late. It all starts with protection.
First and 10, Tomlinson with a flag flying, takes it to the 30, gain of 2. We'll check on the flag.
This is another part of Philip Rivers that's gotten better. And Norv Turner is one who really emphasizes it.
Offside. Defense number 96 was in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Repeat.
Well, he was in the neutral zone because Philip Rivers has learned how to use his cadence as a weapon. And you usually see that in the maturity process of a quarterback. You look across the league right now, and you see Brady doing it, and Manning's great at it, Breeze is great at it, Favre, and Rivers has taken that step also.
Kevin Vickerson called for the penalty, so a 1st and 5. Tomlinson, not a lot there, maybe a yard before he's turned back. Javon Hay and Colin Allred were there to make the tackle.
You know, last week we had the pleasure of watching the Dallas Cowboy New Orleans Saint game. And at that time we were talking about how Drew Brees and Sean Payton are on the same page. And I think there are some combinations in this league and that are on the same page. And Norv Turner and Philip Rivers are there. And they think the same, they anticipate the same, and they deliver the same.
Tomlinson on 2nd down. He's got the 1st down, tripped up at the 20-yard line by Chris Hope, but it's a gain of 6 and a 1st down.
And so now Norv Turner, who I've always thought has been one of the best, one of the best play callers in the National Football League. Talking to him yesterday, what impressed me the most, and this is high praise. He said that Philip Rivers is playing as well as anybody. He also said that Gates is playing better than any one player at his position that he has ever seen, with special apologies to Troy Aikman.
Yeah. And he said the key really is you can't let ego get in the way between the quarterback and the play caller. And they feel that relationship is great. Rivers nearly picked off as he tried to throw it out into the flat intended for Sproles.
I think he tried to throw that one away, and Allred had a chance of maybe getting a pick.
It's an interesting dynamic, though, with the quarterback and the head coach about the ego. And, Norv said, listen, don't prejudge any plays either. If a call comes in and you don't like it, don't prejudge it and say, oh, this isn't going to work. Just make it work.
Give it a chance and then make it work. That's what I've always appreciated. That's why they're talking about Norv Turner as a player's coach and coach of the year and all those things coming up. Because he believes in taking the play and putting it on the players and let them making it work.
Gotta have good players too, and he's got them. Rivers over the middle. Jackson picks up 9, thrown down by Nick Harper.
And if you're gonna have good protection, which they are, you have to take care of Vanden Bosch, because he is 100 miles an hour all the time. And that's a nice mugging right there by McNeil. He just does a good job of getting physical with him. And that's good stuff.
How you greeted me this morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Your arm barred me around the neck. 3rd and 1. Rivers, flag on Finnegan, intended for Chris Wilson.
Ooh, I don't know about that one.
He's trying to find Chris Wilson. He's Tony Fuentes.
Defense number 31. Automatic 1st down.
Well, let's watch Cortland Finnegan, number 31. He'll be going against Chris Wilson right there, number 88. Now, he's okay right there. He's okay right. right at the end, he gave him a little push. That's what they're going to call. And the ball was in the air. You have your 5 yards, and it looked like he was within the 5 yards, but the ball was in the air when he pushed it.
3 defensive penalties on this drive for Tennessee. Tomlinson on a 1st and goal. Picks his way to the 3. Finnegan on the tackle.
Well, I had the pleasure of playing with one of the great goal line magnets of all time, Marcus Allen. And LaDainian Tomlinson has that same magnet. He has a way about him. He just finds the goal line. Some of those guys, when they get down there, watch their levels. They just shrink themselves. They play extremely low. Tomlinson can do that.
73 yards on the drive. 2nd and goal. Tomlinson's going to throw it for Gates, and he overthrew him out of the back of the end zone.
He had him too.
Gates was open. Tomlinson had him. Just misfired.
And a nice call. This is Norv Turner call. This is a great call. And the only thing lacking there is the ball had to be down a little bit. But that's a nice call by Norv Turner.
He's thrown 7 in his career. His first pass attempt though of this season.
Now they're spreading him out. Watch Sproles inside. That's unabated.
That'll be the 4th penalty against Tennessee defensively on this drive.
Beating themselves.
Neutral zone infraction, unabated to the quarterback. Defense number 98.
It's Dave
This
Ball.
penalty assessed half the distance to the goal. Remains 3rd down.
You know, the National Football League, and if this is the only place I've ever heard the word unabated. Did it ever show up anywhere else?
No.
Ever?
Good point.
I never heard that before. Unabated in the supermarket? No. But where? Where does it show up?
Unabated at a toll booth. Easy pass.
Unabated in science. No, none of that stuff happens. Unabated to the quarterback is the only place you can use that. That's a word for jeopardy.
Now he's back in on 3rd and goal. Tomlinson. There it is. Touchdown San Diego. His 11th rushing touchdown of the season. And the Chargers have the lead. Impressive drive for San Diego.
And this is just LaDainian Tomlinson, 21, just using his eyes. And then getting right behind Big Dillman there, 68. Didn't even have to shrink himself. Just follow 6'8". And it gets you in the end zone.
So on the 2nd offensive possession, the San Diego Chargers get a Tomlinson run. Nate Kading for the extra point. Short kick. Britt fields it at the 15. Tackled at the 26th. Second possession for the Titans. Trailing 7-3. Young to throw on 1st down. Looking for Justin Gage in double team traffic, and Eric Weddle and Antonio Cromartie on the coverage. Eric Weddle limped off after that incomplete pass. Paul Oliver comes in his spot at safety for San Diego. Crumpler in motion. Johnson. There's that patience. And then the speed. Johnson to the 42 before finally knocked out of bounds. What a run of 16 yards.
Let's watch the patience. Bring him in. There's where you bring him in. And now run where they ain't. That's what you do. And that's what he does. And he just draws you in. And then he just has an elusiveness. It's a smoothness about him that few have.
5 touches, 57 yards. Let's get a look at offensive coordinator Mike Heimerdinger. Now, one of the Chargers shaking up. That's Sean Phillips, who was just starting to feel healthy. He told us yesterday, you know, my ankle's finally feeling really good, feeling healthy.
He's their best defensive player in that front 7. He's it.
Brandon Seiler comes in. Young's going to keep it. Vince Young slides to safety in Tennessee territory. And San Diego territory, gain of 14.
Well, we showed you a picture of Mike Heimerdinger, and we talked about the maturity of Vince Young. But there's more to it than just the maturity. You know what he has in terms of physical skills? There's a learning curve that's going on by the quarterback, and there's a learning curve that goes on with the coaching staff. And once it meets, which it is right now, that's when you have a good shot.
Back in Nashville, the Chargers lead the Titans 7-3 as we start the second. Bob Papa along with Matt Millen. Sean Phillips nicked up on the last play. A San Diego win guarantees the #2 seed in the AFC. Tennessee at 7-7, fighting for their playoff hopes alive. They've got to get to 9-7 and hope for some help. Young's pass tipped at the line as we start the second. Incomplete. Get a look at Phillip Rivers, 6 of 9 for 53 yards to start this game. Vince Young, 2 of 6 for 26 yards. So it'll be 2nd and 10 for Tennessee in San Diego territory. There's Johnson. Shouldered out at about the 35-yard line. Gain of 7 on the play.
So Chris Johnson had about 50 yards already in this game. Eyeballing. You know, he told us last night he'd love to be able to get the NFL record. He's about 370 yards away. And minus the 50, so now you're down to 320. So, you know, is it doable? Absolutely, it's doable. With this guy, anything is doable. He has big play in him, and he has consistency in him.
Scaife in motion on a 3rd and 3. Johnson not going to get the first down. Luis Castillo got the first hit on him, along with Brandon Seiler. So what do you do now if you're Mike Heimerdinger?
Take a good look at those eyes. You know what he's doing. He's going for it. And in order for Mike to call that, Jeff Fisher already told him on 3rd down, get a play ready.
Field goal from here would be about 53 yards into the wind. Johnson on 4th and 2. There's the first down to the 29-yard line.
And Bob, that's the part of Chris Johnson that separates him from small backs. He will run between the tackle with power, and he's not a big man. But one of the things he said, I like to run through people. I'm not afraid of contact at all. And you can see he lowers his shoulders, and he'll get through. Right there at the end, he finishes that run.
And the fullback, Ahmad Hall, did a wonderful job of kicking out Stephen Cooper, the linebacker. Young with time. Young intercepted. Brandon Seiler gets his first pick of the year. Pass intended for Algie Crumpler. And we have our first turnover of the night. Nate Washington is shaken up on the play. So Vince Young throws his 5th pick of the season. Costly turnover. Chargers in front, 7-3. Phillip Rivers and the Chargers back on offense in their own 24. Vincent Jackson runs out of a tackle and picks up nearly 10. We go back to the interception.
Yeah, let me show you that pick, see what happens. They're going to go man-to-man on the outside. So this is locked up, and this is locked up. And then they're going to play a zone underneath. But here's the key, right here. They're tagging Johnson. If Johnson jumps the flat, they go man on him, which they do. And then Brandon Seiler just eyeballed Vince Young the whole way. And Young eyeballed Crumpler, and that resulted in a pick.
After a gain of 9, 2nd and 1. Tomlinson gets the first down to the 35. Good hard running there for LaDainian Tomlinson. Tomlinson 8 carries for 30 yards and the touchdown.
And we've talked about these big receivers and going against the smaller defensive backs, but Cortland Finnegan, number 31, the corner for the Tennessee Titans, he is a good one. He is extremely competitive. He has a great motor and sticks his nose in on everything. He has to play physical against these big receivers.
Nene hit at the 40. It's a gain of 5 on the play. Kyle Vanden Bosch made the tackle.
Now, Norv Turner knows that they have a distinct size advantage in the secondary. And so what you saw right there is how one of the ways they can take advantage of that. And so they'll get that little bubble screen going. They'll get the big guys on the smaller DBs and get them blocked. In that case, Floyd was on Finnegan, and that's a physical mismatch.
On a 2nd and 5. Wide open as Jackson spins away from a tackle and takes it into Tennessee territory to the 42. Nick Harper missed the tackle, gain of 17.
Yeah, and that's one of the things you have to be able to do if you're going to start throwing these guys. They're playing a soft zone, and they're sticking off of him a little bit. See how he's going to bail? Okay, that's fine. That's a technique. That's not a technique. You've got to make the tackle. You can't lower your head. You have to come down and make a sure tackle. Don't stop your feet. Don't get your head down. Run through the guy.
Throws in motion. Rivers with time, intended for Tolbert, incomplete.
This is Norv Turner at his finest right here. Now, it ended up being nothing, but I want to show you what they're trying to do. They are on the top side. They're looking at numbers, and so they go with motion, and they get him out. Watch. They're going to take him, and they're going to use him. See? They take him, and they see what you're going to do with him. And he doesn't go all the way out, so they have a numbers mismatch. Now, Rivers doesn't see it. They had 3-on-2, 2 defenders, and Gates ran right through and nobody was there, and they missed it.
Something I'm sure they'll go back to.
You see the flag. You know, when I talk about a numbers mismatch, all of football is about numbers. And so they had 3 receivers, 3 eligible receivers.
Defense, number 97. Stepped into the neutral zone, causing offensive lineman to false start. 5-yard penalty will remain, 2nd down.
Penalty on Tony Brown, and that's the 3rd on the defensive line of Tennessee.
Yeah, so you have 3 wide receivers, but there were only 2 guys out there to defend him. You had 2 defenders. They brought the back route, and there was no one else there. So you're 3-on-2, that's a mismatch. That's one you like to take advantage of.
See how mad Chuck Cecil was? He lost his gum yelling at the officials. Tomlinson gets a cutback lane, gets tripped up at the 31-yard line, but it's a gain of 7. You know, Chuck Cecil was pretty intense. Guy threw a lot of big shots. His gum's flying.
Well, he was going to throw it at him, but it just fell out, and he just let it go. He was thinking about throwing it first. Couldn't quite get the handle on it.
At least he didn't hit him, which is what he did as a player. He tried to lay people out.
He was spitting mad.
Rivers hit by Ford and sacked. Jacob Ford gets his 5th sack of the season.
Nice by Jacob Ford. And that's what they need. They need a big defensive player. And you can see Ford, he's standing up on the outside. Going to work against McNeil. You see how he did? He stopped and he got his hands. Watch him knock the hands away. It's all about hands. McNeil committed with his hands, stopped his feet. Ford slapped the hands, got the edge, sack.
Ball spotted at the Tennessee 36. 2nd and 15 for San Diego. Rivers under pressure. Wide open is Gates. And Gates will walk in for the touchdown.
That was all Philip Rivers. Because he fled the pocket and had the wherewithal to be able to keep his eyes down the field, he forced the line of scrimmage, and Gates came free.
Now remember, the line of scrimmage was the 36-yard line, but your entire body, every part of your body has to be past the line of scrimmage in order for that pass not to count. If any part of your body is in contact with the line of scrimmage, that play is good. Jeff Fisher's going to throw the flag. The call on the field is a touchdown for Philip Rivers. Now remember, our blue line is not official. The line of scrimmage is about the 36. If any part of your body is touching that line of scrimmage, the play is good. Now Matt, the foot's up in the air, the left foot then comes back and touches it. We're waiting for Tony Corrente's ruling. Remember, it was ruled a touchdown on the field of play. I don't know if there's enough to turn that over.
No, I think that's a touchdown.
After reviewing the play, the quarterback had not completely crossed the line of scrimmage with the entire body. Therefore, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a completed pass. Tennessee will be charged with their first timeout. They have one challenge remaining.
We saw that last year with Eli Manning of the Giants, and 2 years ago with Tony Romo of the Dallas Cowboys. Same thing. Your entire body's got to be across that line.
Now watch down here. Here he comes. Allred goes this way. Gates does the smart thing and goes the other way, and it's 6 quick.
Nate Kading to kick off for San Diego. Fielded by Britt. Picks up a block out to the 30 and tackled at the 35-yard line by James Holt.
Now, if you're Colin Allred and you're number 56 and you're your second year out of Baylor, you're in a pickle because you have to make a decision. You're right down here. Okay, and now once he takes off, you have to make a decision of what you have to do. You have to stop him for the 3rd down and force a turnover, or do you stay with your coverage? You don't know where everybody else is around you, so you're kind of in a vacuum. And then once he makes the break, you make your decision, and that's when the nice play by Gates is he gains ground and scores.
Young picked off on his last pass, throws to Hall. There's a flag coming out of the secondary. We'll check it after a gain of 3.
Quentin Jammer was down there working on Justin Gage, number 12.
Waiting for Tony Corrente.
Illegal contact, defense number 23. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Penalty on Quentin Jammer.
Quentin Jammer out of Texas. That's past the 5-yard. Now, I don't know who was the hitter and who was the hittee. But there's the flag, and there's the call.
It's an offensive game. By the way, Sean Phillips and Eric Weddle are back in for San Diego. Both got hurt on the last Tennessee drive. And Sean Phillips said you gotta define your gaps against a guy like Chris Johnson and don't get involved in a skating match or he's going to kill you. So far, Johnson 57 yards and 7 carries. Now that'll lose a yard as they held their gaps quite well. Johnson out to the 46-yard line, picks up 7 on the play. Luis Castillo on the tackle.
You talked about Chris Johnson and taking care of your gaps and all that stuff, but when you play him, it becomes assignment football. And it becomes everybody has to have discipline of scheme. And what that means is you're assigned a gap, and you get in that gap, and you don't jump out of it. because you have to be as patient as he is.
Then it's also trust, right? You've got to trust your defensive teammates.
And then don't try to make your own play. Don't try to make somebody else's play.
Young on a 3rd and 5 is going to run it. Lost the football as he slid. And that's being ruled a fumble. And Tennessee.
Yeah, that would be a tough one.
San Diego's got the football. Stephen Cooper's got it.
He went down with his knee. He slid. Yeah, he slid. Now, and once he goes down with that knee, it's watch.
Well, it's knocked out from behind.
Oh, it's knocked out. That's a good call.
1st and 10 for Rivers after the turnover. Flag on the play. He's going deep for Floyd. He's got him for the touchdown. We'll check the flag. As it stands now, 52 yards.
Holding offense, number 73, 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Scratch the 52 yards.
Well, it's Marcus McNeil, and they took it, and Vanden Bosch took a hard inside move on him, and McNeil hooked him, and that's what they call, watch, up the field, now back inside, and there's the hook, and it's a good call. And Tony Corrente, we told you, it's an A crew, and that's why. He's able to see it, but this is what they took away.
And my guess is they're going back to it. Again, they've taken a couple deep shots. Rivers underthrew in the 1st quarter. Jackson once. First and 20, screen for Tomlinson. Defenders are there. Well read, and Nick Harper runs him out of bounds after a gain of 2. Matt, with the 6:19 to go, another flag and a personal foul.
Defense number 95.
William
After
Hayes.
conclusion, unnecessarily shoved the quarterback to the ground. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
William Hayes just got called for a crucial penalty against Tennessee.
They're beating themselves.
That's their 6th defensive penalty.
They have just, and this one, and he's right. That's unnecessary. I mean, you get there, you don't push him. But here's another flag on the sideline. This is going to go against the coach or the coaching staff. They're falling apart. You cannot do that. Rule number 1, do not beat yourself. And they are beating themselves with turnovers and penalties here in the first half.
At the conclusion of all the action while the penalty was being enforced, unsportsmanlike conduct, Tennessee, 15-yard penalty, first down.
The line judge, John Hussey, threw the flag. I think he had enough of somebody on the bench. Was it Chuck Cecil, the defensive coordinator? But look at this. It went from 2nd and 18 for San Diego to now they have a first down at the Tennessee 30 in what is a playoff game for Tennessee, Matt. They've got to win this game and the last game, and they need help at 9 and 7. But they're shooting themselves in the foot right now.
They just shot their whole leg off.
Tomlinson, the 26-yard line, picks up 4. But, you know, that's such a huge swing, Matt, because the screen pass only went for 2. And then Hayes commits the dumb penalty. And the bench gets called for a penalty.
That's 30 yards or 20 yards right there. That's a monster. You can't beat the flight. Again, I'll repeat myself. Don't beat yourself.
Rivers avoids the sack for Jackson. Can't connect. There's hope on the coverage.
You see how Rivers manages the pocket? That's what Deion Sanders was talking about on the pregame show. He does a great job of stepping up. Watch it. Here's the pocket in here. Now you manage that. This is what it means. You step up inside, allow those defenders to go by, and then take your shot. And hope on the back end just gets a nick on it, because Rivers takes a shot at 6.
You know, it's just like the guy that he replaced in San Diego we talked about last Saturday, Drew Brees, on those feet. Flag on the play. Jackson with the catch. They're going to get the right tackle, though, for a false start, Matt. He came out of his stance and beat early.
Yeah, that's big Dombrowski, number 62.
False start, offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
They're going to get the right guard, Luis Vasquez.
Yeah, it wasn't him. He's wrong. Vasquez didn't move. It was really Dombrowski.
519, thank you.
Dombrowski's an interesting story. I mean, guy was signed as a free agent last year. Never really played tackle. They've asked him to step in, and they said you can hit him over the head with a sledgehammer, and he'll just say, what do you need from me?
And you know, both those guys, Vasquez on the inside, just a rook, and then Dombrowski, the tackle. They're playing pretty darn well out there for young players.
Rivers with time. Nene with the catch to the 10. First down, San Diego. Gain of 21.
Yeah, you said it first. First, it's the protection. And when he has that time, he's just going to take a good look at Nene to the inside. And then Fuller, they're sitting in the zone and they're finding the holes in the zone. But when you play zone, you have to have an awareness. And a lot of it is pattern recognition, understanding what's happening around you. And you have to play the man as well as your zone.
Tomlinson on a 1st and 10. Tomlinson thrown down at the 5 by Nick Harper, gain of 6. San Diego can get a first down without scoring a touchdown. They have to take it just inside the 1. But so far, Matt, you know, they've scored touchdowns on each of their last 2 possessions. They've forced a couple of turnovers. Tennessee's imploded with penalties, and San Diego trying to lock down that number 2 seed in the AFC. They look strong tonight.
And they're just jumping on Philip Rivers' back.
Tomlinson again. Dropped by Stephen Tulloch after a gain of 2.
I remember when Tulloch came into the league, and you took a look at him, and he's just a 4th-round pick. But he plays with great leverage. He's a short guy. He's tough. He's got good physical abilities, and he runs well. And what you wait for a young middle linebacker is when their eyes start allowing themselves to make the plays, because sometimes they don't believe their eyes. Well, Tulloch is starting to believe his eyes. He's starting to see and believe what's going on.
Tennessee needs to stop in the worst way. Sproles, touchdown.
That's a page right out of the Bill Walsh book. Just an arrow route back underneath. You get him to back off. Gates is on the top side of it, and then you just take, watch him, he's going to take up this way, and then just, it's an arrow back underneath. See, they'll jump Gates, and then you gain leverage because you're on the inside.
Second touchdown pass of the night for Philip Rivers, giving him 27 on the season. And Nate Kading answers with the extra point. Well, 2 turnovers for Tennessee and a bunch of penalties, and they've given up 21 unanswered points. Kenny Britt for the Titans. Can't turn it outside, run out by Paul Oliver.
Let's take a look at that touchdown again, see what they're going to do. They're going to take him and they're going to run him out, and then they're going to bring him back down and they're going to clear him, and that opens this whole void inside. Well, as a defender, you're sitting on the outside with leverage. You need help on the inside, and if you don't have that help, you have to jump that coverage, and it's a tough one because he has a 2-way go.
And that drive will be punctuated by all the Tennessee penalties. Young under pressure. Going to run it to the sideline and step out at the 31-yard line. Gain of 8 on the play.
So right now, what they have to be able to do, they've got to get some points on the board before they go in. They've moved the ball, and they've had big chunk plays, and they've been consistent, but then they've beaten themselves with turnovers. Right now, they have to put 6 on the board.
Matt, even though they're down 21-3, don't they have to? They can't start getting into a passing game because
No.
that's not going to work.
Just stay. Is that what brought them here to this net? Feed 28. You have time. Just get 6 on the board.
Chris Johnson has a first down. Late flag comes in by referee Tony Correnti. And that's in the vicinity of offensive holding.
That's what it looks like. He's giving that.
Holding, offense number 54. 10-yard penalty, second down.
That's Eugene Amano, the left guard. And penalty 8 for Tennessee with 2:30 to go in the first half. Sean Phillips shaken up as he goes back to the sideline. Trying to stretch out that hip. Matt, you look at those 8 penalties. I mean, playing against a team as good as San Diego, you can't help them like this.
That's ridiculous. So this looks like a preseason game with all these penalties. Shouldn't be doing that here.
Screen for Johnson. Easy way to make up the penalty yardage. It's been all Chargers so far here at Nashville. After 2-minute warning, San Diego in front 21-3. Tennessee has 2 timeouts. Remember, they lost one of their timeouts on the challenge on the Phillip Rivers touchdown pass to Antonio Gates. Tomlinson, Gates, and Sproles with the touchdowns for San Diego. Tennessee's turned it over twice, and they've committed 8 penalties. Blitz on. Young with time. Young, the sideline. Nate Washington has a first down. Gain of 11. Stops the clock with 1:54 to go.
You know, you said it right. Blitz on. They did come with a blitz, and it was well protected. And part of that protection is Chris Johnson. And that's the other part. You're not, if you don't block, you don't play running back in the National Football League. And he likes to block. He's not afraid to stick his face in there.
Notice he picked out the DB to block too.
Not dumb either.
Now, remember, Tennessee gets the ball to start the 3rd. So it's a big possession right here with 2 timeouts. 1st and 10. Young to Washington. That's good for 8. Young with time. Young has a first down to the rookie Kenny Britt. Tackled by Cromartie. Gain of 14.
That was smart by Kenny Britt to get out of bounds, and it's going against his zone. And they're just playing a soft cover 3. What I mean by that is the corners are giving them room, and they're trying to let everything happen in front of you, and that's okay. That's a technique. Tennessee just takes advantage of that. A good protection, and the ball's right where it has to be, and Britt has the wherewithal to get out of bounds.
Talked with Antonio Cromartie on the field a little bit earlier, and he said, Britt reminds me of a young Brandon Marshall, good physical receiver. Rookie out of Rutgers.
Off the edge.
Blitz on, trying to get the screen to Johnson, and it's incomplete. Steve Gregory brought the pressure. With 1:08 to go in the half, 2nd and 10 for Tennessee with 2 timeouts. Down 21-3. They had a 3-0 lead in the first quarter, but 3 unanswered touchdowns by the Chargers.
They're in good shape. Minute 8 to go here. 2 timeouts.
Young to Johnson. Well diagnosed by Cromartie on the edge, and then Merriman cleaned it up.
This is where I take a timeout.
And Jeff Fisher will with 58 seconds to go. 8 penalties for 61 yards. Most of them on defense. And not only was there the roughing the passer on William Hayes, but then the bench that called for 15 yards on top of that. The 1 timeout remaining for the Titans. 3rd and 6. From the San Diego 28. Room for Vince Young. And he wisely gets to the sideline to stop the clock. With it to the 18-yard line.
As soon as he saw green, he took off. and he allowed them to get the coverage, and that's fine. He had the protection, and then he saw the lane open, and then he knows, you know, this is a big man, but a fast man. They're going to pull it down right away. Sees the lane, gets the first. It doesn't matter if you get a linebacker locked on him like you did right there, Stephen Cooper, 54, it's not going to matter. He's good. That's a mismatch. He's going to run away from it.
As the third most rushing yards of quarterbacks in the league. Of course, he didn't play the first 6 games. Aaron Rodgers and David Garrard, the top 2. Young, Washington, knocked down just short of the 10, gain of 7.
Got to hurry up, get to the line of scrimmage. Now defensively, this is where everything changes. A lot of times teams play core coverage down here. You divide the deep into 4 separate parts back there.
Young, middle of the field, he's got Johnson tripped up at the 3. It'll be 1st and goal for Tennessee, and they'll use their final timeout with 23 seconds to go.
And a first down, which means you can take 3 shots into the end zone here. You have plenty of time to get the touchdown.
This drive started back at the 23-yard line of Tennessee.
And really, what it shows really is what they can do if they don't beat themselves. They've done this in the first half. The only thing that's taken them back the other way has been penalties and the turnovers.
And Young, 6 of 7 on this drive for 63 yards. In the game, 8 of 14 for 89. Yeah, both turnovers were in plus territory.
Yeah, we see the 6 of 7, and like you said, he's making the pressure throws, but his feet, that's what separates him. And this is really where the maturity has come in. He goes back, he sets his feet to throw, and then if it's not there, he still looks down the field, but he's not afraid to run. Here's an area where his feet can score 6.
He's thinking the same way. Gets a block on the edge from Washington, and he's in.
Not only was he thinking the same way, Mike Heimerdinger, their offensive coordinator, was thinking the same thing, because that was pulled down very fast and it was blocked like a run. So that was coming from the sideline.
Vince Young's 2nd rushing touchdown of the season, and a huge drive with 17 seconds to go in the half. A touchdown for Tennessee, and they get the ball to start the 3rd to try to stabilize this game a little bit. Kern gets the high snap down. Barones converts the extra point. Matt, let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, watch right away. The ball comes down. He's going to pull it down right away. They're blocking immediately. This is a quarterback draw, and it was taken away inside. It was supposed to be up inside. It didn't happen there, but because he has the great speed, he just takes it. He gets out on the edge. And once he's on the edge, he's as dangerous as any runner in this league.
And Nate Washington, the wide receiver, did a really good job, as Jeff Fisher reacts, of keeping Quentin Jammer out of the play to make a play against Vince Young.
Yeah, you have to get a body on a body. Sometimes, you know, I call it a hat on a hat or whatever. It's assignment football. But all you have to do with runners like Vince Young and Chris Johnson is just occupy the man across from you, and they'll do the rest.
Wolf Turner and Ron Rivera, the defensive coordinator, talking it over. Matt, when you look at that drive and how important was it to get points, knowing you get the ball to start the 3rd.
Yeah, it was a monster, but Bob, more than that, how easy it was that they did it. That's what has to give them confidence going into that 3rd quarter.
Barones on the kickoff, Sproles to receive from the 11. Hit at the 26th. Phillip Rivers got a little extra throwing in before the start of the 3rd. LaDainian Tomlinson, 12 carries for 49 yards. Kenny Britt back deep for Tennessee to start the third quarter. From his own 5. Great pursuit. And Chris Wilson made the tackle after a return of 17. And there's another flag on the play as there's some pushing and shoving.
Now they're starting right away.
There were 12 accepted penalties in the first half.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 81.
That's Kasim Osgood.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's their 5th receiver. And you watch him, number 81, he just hits him in the back, and that's uncalled for. But it's unfortunate because he's a good player. That's an excellent special teams player. And oh, by the way, he's 6'5", 230 pounds, and he can run, and he's got good toughness. But that was unnecessary.
Improves the field position for Tennessee to start this third quarter drive from their own 38. Young, incomplete, intended. Britt knocked away by Antonio Cromartie.
They wanted interference on this thing, but Cromartie, hey, let me tell you something about this guy. When he's on, he's as good as there is in this league. He can mirror, he can break, knocks. I mean, he's the complete player. There are times when he gets a little lax out there.
Justin Gage, the intended receiver. Chris Johnson out to the 45-yard line, tripped up by Sean Phillips, gain of 7.
He's at about 60 yards. They need to continue to get the ball to him as well.
11 carries, 73.
73. See, did I say 60? I meant 73.
You were close.
But he's a little under 200. He's just got to keep on pushing it.
Well, he could, but the amazing thing is he can take a nondescript looking play and go 55 yards in a snap.
Well, he started with 1730. Now he's got his 70. Says at 1803.
Johnson fights for a yard or two, and that's it. Good interior defense by San Diego. Steve Gregory came up from the safety spot to make the hit.
And that was a tough one.
So with good field position, Tennessee will set out the punting unit, not able to pick up a first down after the penalty on Osgood. Sproles back deep. Brett Kern signed off waivers from Denver on October the 27th. In the punt. First time we've seen him tonight. Sproles. San Diego takes it over. 1st and 10 from their own 15. LaDainian Tomlinson picks up a couple. Stephen Tulloch on the tackle. My heroes wear combat boots. Merry Christmas to the troops. And we extend our thanks as well to those men and women around the globe defending democracy on this Christmas night. So glad you can join us here on NFL Network. Bob Popple along with Matt Millen. It's our final broadcast of the season here on NFL Network. It's part of our Thursday night package. It's been a lot of fun.
Corner blitz.
Rivers with time. Rivers has Gates to midfield, tackled by McGrath.
Great throw. They brought the corner, they brought the blitz, they had it protected. And then Philip Rivers just throws. That's perfect. I mean, you can't get any better. And watch it come. Here comes the pressure's going to come off the edge. You're seeing it right down here. It's picked up, and then watch the ball. Perfect touch. Beats McGrath. That's a matchup that they love.
McGrath, a rookie 4th-round draft pick out of Southern Miss, gain of 32 on the play. Gates told us Keith Bulluck's the guy that always defended me when I played these guys. Rivers with time. Rivers for Jackson. Can't reel it in at the 10.
Well, you said it earlier, Bob. They were going to take that shot again, and you're right. And they're going to take it again before this game's over. Norv Turner will always do this. He will take a shot. I think Norv Turner attacks safeties better than anybody. And he also knows he has great timing. And it's just feel. You either have it or you don't have it. When to take the shot. He did it when he was with the Rams as an offensive coordinator. He did it as a head coach in Washington. He did it down in Dallas when he had those guys. And he's doing it here.
And they were picking on the rookie Jason McCourty out of Rutgers. Direct snap to Tomlinson, and he bounces to the 46-yard line of Tennessee. Gain of 3 on the play. You know, Matt, you talk about the deep shots. They had the Floyd touchdown pass negated because of a holding penalty. Going into the wind, Jackson was open and wasn't able to get it out over enough, but they have taken their shots.
When you call a game, it's not about what he's holding in his hand. It has nothing to do with the list. It has nothing to do with the script. It's about feel. The great ones have feel, and Norv Turner has feel.
3rd and 7. Rivers throws a dart to Floyd for the first down to the 25-yard line. Gain of 22.
Well, he can make that dart because it was picked up. They brought a blitz on the inside, and it got picked up right away. And once it's picked up, and you watch Sproles, watch Darren Sproles, 43. Not a big man, but this is a big block right there. And then Rivers knows what he has on the outside, and it's just step and throw. It's perfectly thrown right inside on Finnegan, and it's a first down.
That was Kevin Casefahorn on the blitz. Rivers, 15 of 21, 199 yards. There's the screen to Tolbert, the fullback, crunching his way inside the 15 to the 14. Gain of 10.
Well, Nick Hardwick had himself a nice block out there, and it's a nice screen. And Tolbert just gets back out there, and that's the other thing with this San Diego offense. Everybody gets used. Everybody. If you have a half a step on somebody, Philip Rivers is going to find you. And if it's your job to have to block down the field, that offensive line, they do a good job of getting out there, particularly that right side. That's a young, mobile group.
Rivers has hit 8 different receivers. Throws it on first down. Finnegan tied up. He's going to get flagged.
Yeah, that was man coverage, and Finnegan was all over it, and it's a good call. They're trying to throw back shoulder on that, Bob, and Finnegan gets put in a position where, you know, you've got to do something. Watch him. He's going to take away the inside. See how he holds the inside leverage?
Pass intended for Malcolm Floyd.
The end zone, the ball be placed at the 1-yard line. Automatic first down.
Well, there's as much offense as defense there. And Floyd grabbed his face and pulled it back, and Finnegan stood in there and did what he had to do. That's a tough position for a corner. That back shoulder throw is it's almost one of those things that's indefensible.
And now it's 1st and goal at the 1. You saw the size advantage for Floyd there against Finnegan as well. Tomlinson gets his 2nd touchdown of the night. An impressive drive for San Diego. They now lead at 27-10 with the extra point coming.
Boy, big Brandon Manamalayuna. He had a nice block on that one. Watch big number 86. And they're clearing out everything inside. Dillman coming around. Dombrowski. Just well done.
Tomlinson 15 carries, 56 yards, and the 2 scores. Kading's extra point is good. LaDainian Tomlinson's 1-yard touchdown run caps off a scoring drive, 7 plays, 65 yards. Big 32-yarder to Gates. Got the pass interference in the end zone on Cortland Finnegan against Malcolm Floyd. And it's been all Philip Rivers and Norv Turner. They are in sync tonight, just picking apart the Tennessee defense.
They've been in sync all year.
Kenny Britt. Antoine Cason makes the tackle. Well, for the Titans, Santa's stuck in the chimney.
Holy smokes.
Down 28-10. And Santa's delivered 4 touchdowns for the San Diego Chargers. They lead at 28-10. Tennessee with the football. Young under pressure. He's going to just give himself up. Ian Scott on the pressure. No gain on the play. Well, they need some kind of spark right now offensively in that. Tennessee does. They got that touchdown late in the half. Look, Santa, it's been all last night working. What better way to relax and watch an NFL game?
Santa came on down here to Nashville. Had a rough night last night. It was all over the place. Put in some hours. He came down here. And of course, what he did was he gave a couple of gifts here in the form of turnovers.
Second down for Young, intended for Britt. 3rd and 11. Young, great play made from behind by Tim Dobbins, because Young had a lot of room to run.
It looked like he came out of that and he just hesitated just a tad, and that's when Dobbins collapsed from the backside and was able to get him. You see Dobbins off the edge right down here. See him? It's good hustle. Way to come back. See, he did a good job of not getting behind him.
Red Kern the punt. Good high punt. Sproles from the 28. Hit at the 34. San Diego with the football up 28-10 from their own 35. Tomlinson out to the 38-yard line. Rivers. Great catch by Jackson. They say he was out of bounds. Did not get the toes down. It was close.
Yeah, but he did a good job of giving himself a chance by coming back to the ball. And that was actually a good job of Rivers. Watch where he throws the ball. He makes him come back to the ball. Now you have to have the wherewithal to get you. Ooh, boy, I don't know about that one.
Tell you what, man. I
that
thought
looked like it was, yes. There's the catch. Now just one.
It's hard to tell with that right toe.
She got one.
Yeah, no, they're both down.
That's down.
They are both down. I saw it to the near sideline with a naked eye. I said, that looks like a good catch. And Nor's going to throw the challenge flag.
San Diego is challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass.
I think it's a pretty good challenge there, Matt.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be overturned.
Nice job by our director, Craig Janoff, to get those pictures, and producer Mark Teidelman dig those up fast.
And you see what I was talking about. They did a great job of showing how Philip Rivers threw him open. He threw him back and made him come back to the ball. And then Rivers, now watch, here's the throw, and then he comes back to it and gets both those feet down.
Maintained control of the football throughout the process as he went out of bounds. Look right here. Left foot's down, right foot touches, boom, knocked out of bounds.
You know, Bob, I said it earlier, we've had the pleasure of watching Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Philip Rivers in back-to-back-to-back games. And all three of them are playing at really high levels. And this guy right here, this guy is not to be overlooked in the MVP ballot, because he is the leadership you can see. He just takes his team and he carries them. And he makes all the throws, and he's in control, and he's doing what you need a great quarterback to do. His only problem in all this MVP talk is that he happens to be having this great year with Peyton Manning having the year he's having.
Yeah, I mean, Indianapolis is undefeated. We've seen what he's done with his team in that great comeback against Jacksonville on NFL Network a week ago last night. Drew Brees didn't have one of his A games, neither did New Orleans at all offensively, but they've had some incredible games this year. But Philip Rivers is as good as anybody this year in the National Football League with his touchdown passes tonight. 2 of them. He's got 27 on the year.
Now, we talked about that show on Tuesday with the Pro Bowl selection. Well, he's going to be one of them. He's going to be one of them. Gates is going to be one of them. You have on the other side.
The play, the receiver had 2 feet inbounds with possession of the ball. It is a completed pass. It will be San Diego's ball, first down at the 47-yard line.
And the man who
San
made
Diego
that catch,
will not be charged with a timeout.
Vincent Jackson, is another one who could be looking at a Pro Bowl nod.
Yeah, Antonio Gates said that guy's got to go to the Pro Bowl.
This guy here's had a great year. Philip Rivers had a great year. Gates has had a great year.
Well, he's 17-0 in his career in December. And he's having a great night here on Christmas night.
8 different receivers. That's what I like. He'll throw it to anybody. He's open, the ball's coming your way.
Sproles in space. Sproles inside the 30, and Finnegan finally got him down at the 27-yard line, gain of 20.
Nice quick decision by Rivers. Knows he has it, just dumps it, and you said it. Get him in space. And this is what space is, out in the open. And this is where he excels. He'll use the space against you. And anytime you're defending Darren Sproles, you have to take something away. You can't give him a two-way go.
LaDainian Tomlinson, not Sproles, excuse me, to the 24. Picks up 3 on the play.
You know, any defender, but, you know, as a linebacker or a safety dropping down, there are so many things that you have to take into account, and you're making decisions on every step. One is speed. One is your angle. One is, am I too high? By that I mean, am I getting up too far and giving him a two-way go? I have to take something away by my body position. So there's literally hundreds of decisions that you're making. And then, oh, by the way, you have to try to tackle him, too.
And he's so good in space as a return man. He's in a comfort zone. Rivers with a screen set up. And Mano is going to lose some yardage. Jason McCourty, the rookie out of Rutgers, on the tackle, loss of 5.
Really, this San Diego offense really hasn't been stopped at all tonight.
Do you like the screen to the 295-pound guy?
Well, that's one of those things, you know, that you go, oh, don't worry about him, and they'll never throw a screen to him, and then here it comes, and you go, we couldn't cover him? Well, that time they did, but that's what North does. He gives you the play that you don't think is going to come.
And the guy who's 100 pounds lighter made the tackle.
Exactly.
Rivers, Floyd. Did he hang on to it? Yes. At the 9. What a catch by Floyd. Gain of 21 and a first and goal for San Diego.
I thought Finnegan had a pick. I thought Finnegan cut it from the backside. Watch him. He's going to try to get the inside leverage. I thought Finnegan was going to make this interception. Watch him come over the top. Oh, Floyd, good concentration. And Rivers throws it down low and outside, the only place it can be caught.
Sproles walks in with a touchdown. From 9 yards out, and San Diego has widened their lead with 4:52 to go in the third, trying to nail down the number 2 seed in the AFC. Five touchdowns in the last 6 possessions.
Well, this is like stealing. That's well blocked. Give him a little space, and he'll give you the big 6.
Sproles' second touchdown of the night. He had 1 receiving in the first half, and now a rushing touchdown. Darren Sproles with a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. LaDainian Tomlinson run in a couple. And the fans in Tennessee remain fired up, but you get a look at Dean Spanos and the San Diego Chargers. I mean,
come on, Dean, stand out there. That's a good man right there. Dean Spanos, right there. There's Dino.
I'm sure he loved that you drew on him.
That's okay. That's one of the good ones.
You know, I met him last year down at the Super Bowl. He was with his wife, and North Turner was with his wife. I was with the great Gil Brandt. Met him in the lobby at the hotel. And what a real positive
hit the
gentleman.
ground.
Kenny Britt fields it off a hop. Britt running into all kinds of trouble as Tolbert and Gregory knocked him down. Now let's take a look at San Diego. You talk about being effective and efficient.
Well,
kind of kneel down in there.
Yeah, here's the bottom line. The Tennessee Titans knew they couldn't give up big plays. Well, that happened. They knew that they didn't rush the passer particularly well, and they needed to get some pressure. they have not been able to do that because San Diego's offensive line has taken care of business.
Chris Johnson hit at the 20 by Stephen Cooper and tackled after a gain of 5. Johnson 13 carries, 80 yards.
You know, Stephen Cooper, when you talk about underrated guys on a defense, you talk about that man right there, Stephen Cooper. That is a good football player. He is the leader of that defense. He gets everybody lined up. He's a studier. No detail goes past him, and he's one of those guys that's kind of a mentor for the rest of the group. He's invaluable for this defense.
Little draw for Johnson. Wrestled to the ground by Larry English, the first-round draft pick out of Northern Illinois. He's the young guy that Sean Phillips is saying, hey, you know, just kind of keep working with him, explaining on what's got to be done, how to go about your business.
That's a guy right there who needs to spend some time with Stephen Cooper. Stephen Cooper is a guy who will put his arms around him and teach him how to be a pro. Sean Phillips is in that same mold.
3rd and 1. Chris Johnson has the first down as he got tripped up by Steve Gregory. Gain of 5.
Bob, you can hear the crowd. They want, right now, they want Chris Johnson to make the big play. They're looking for a home run for Chris Johnson.
Steve Gregory, who went low to Submarine Johnson, shaken up on the play. 4th-year player out of Syracuse. You know, North Turner was telling us, got to give my position coaches a lot of credit because we shuffled some things in the secondary. They released Clinton Hart, who was their starting safety. They've had injuries at linebacker. They've had injuries in the defensive line. So their position coaches have done a great job of kind of getting these guys ready. Ron Rivera, of course, the defensive coordinator, kind of brings it all together. But that staff has done a tremendous job.
And I think that's one of the things when you're a head coach, to get the right staff and then manage your staff. That's the most important thing you can do as a head coach. The X's and O's, you know, that kind of takes care of itself. But to get the right coaches and have them do what you want to be done, get them all on the same page, no agendas, get the work done, that's a sign of a good staff, and that's what he has in San Diego.
And, you know, Ron Rivera, you know, he learned at the feet of Jim Johnson, who passed away, the longtime defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, and you know they've won 17 in a row in December. And Ron said stays in touch with a lot of the guys from the Philly days, and they're going to get together at the Senior Bowl, and that old Philly staff is going to get together and toast the late Jim Johnson, who passed away this summer, in honor of him.
It was just a marvel. I thought he was the brightest defensive coordinator in the league, and that was kind of a universal thought. You know, I was just talking with Ron Rivera yesterday, and I was talking to him about a bunch of things, but one of the guys he brought up was Andy Reid, and what a positive influence he was and is on the coaching profession, and him in particular.
Gregory able to walk off under his own power. Young's pass incomplete, intended for Justin Gage.
You know, Bob, I was talking with Ron Rivera, and we got talking about how, you know, because coaching is just teaching. And we got talking about how you go through progression, and he said, you know, one of the best Christmas gifts I ever got was from Andy Reid. And he said he gave him this little book, a little box, and he opened it up. He's all excited. And he said he opened it up, and it was a book. And he was like, oh, great, thanks for the book. And it was about teaching and how you teach players or how you teach students to take notes and how to learn and identify how each one of them learns. And he said it was one of the best books he's ever gotten.
And Young gets picked off by Eric Weddle. And Weddle tackled at the 28. 3rd turnover by Tennessee. And for Weddle, his 2nd pick of the year. And there's that defense dialed up.
And once you have them in this position where they have to be kind of one-dimensional, this is when you can really do good things. And part of the good things is coverage down the field. And so you flood it with coverage. And Weddle, who always seems to be around the ball, comes up with the pick.
Weddle in his 3rd year out of Utah, his 2nd pick of the season.
Good anticipation on Britt.
So Young has been picked off for the 2nd time, 3rd turnover. And San Diego trying to build upon a 35-10 lead. Give it off to Jacob Hester. And Hester will pick up 2. Hester in his second year out of LSU.
And that's one of the values of Jacob Hester. He's normally a fullback, very versatile player. You can line him up at tailback. He did that at LSU, and he'll be effective. He doesn't have the great speed that the others have, but he has a great feel as a runner. And he'll give you power when he has to give you power. He'll be a fullback when you ask him to be that. But he's also got the run skills. Now he's lined up as a fullback.
And now he's the fullback for Tolbert, as Rivers will throw it on second down. Hester's got it. Hester's thrown out of bounds by Gerald McGrath after a gain of 3.
You see what they did there? They took Tolbert and put him at tailback, and put Hester and put him at fullback. And the reason they did that was because you can get the fullback into the flat, and then Tolbert picks up the coverage. I mean, the protection.
And look at that money in December. Remember last year they had to scrape through December to win the division against Denver. And Philip Rivers has been huge when the chips are down. Winning divisions and getting his team in position. A couple of years ago he was hurt and dragged himself through that AFC Championship game in New England. Flag on the play as they dump it off underneath to Sproles, and he gets brought down. We'll check the flag.
And at one point they're just going to have to pull Philip Rivers right here.
Illegal formation. Offense number 73 was not lined up on the line of scrimmage.
This time he's going to give it to Sproles, and Sproles has the first down and more all the way to the 5. McCourty on the tackle.
How impressive is Darren Sproles? He's short and quick and has good speed and decisive and smart. Catches the ball well. He's got a ton of things that he does very, very well. Just watch him. Look at the quick twitch. Make you miss. Can run through tackles. That's the part that people don't know about him. He will run through tackles. He's a strong little runner.
Gain of 21. That's the Chargers' 8th play tonight of 20 or more yards. LaDainian Tomlinson just watching Sproles as Sproles trying to get his 3rd touchdown of the night. He's got 1 receiving and 1 running.
I'll tell you who he reminds me of as a runner. James Brooks, they used to have here in San Diego, was a tough, I mean tough inside runner. And Sproles not as powerful as Brooks was, but same stature and a tough runner also.
And that'll be the final play of quarter number 3. All San Diego. Start the 4th quarter. Chargers up 35-10. Darren Sproles, touchdown, San Diego. 3rd touchdown of the night for Sproles, his 2nd rushing. And San Diego happy.
Where in the world is San Diego? Here he is. He showed up at number 43, and he's just following that big offensive line, and they've played a heck of a game tonight. Marcus McNeil, Chris Dielman, Nick Hardwick.
Nick Hardwick back after injury.
Vasquez, Dombrowski, they've all played well here tonight. And big Marcus McNeil, you see, he's right there. That man's not very pleased with what happened, but Marcus McNeil was. And I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure Marcus McNeil was the guy who came into our dinner last night and pilfered some ice cream.
Kenny Britt on the return out to the 26-yard line.
There's big Marcus McNeil.
Yeah, you know, NFL Network threw a dinner for our entire crew. You know, we want to thank all the men and women on our crew who took time away from their families to put this all together. You know, all the hard work to set up the trucks and the cabling, the cameras and the audio. So NFL Network threw a nice dinner for the entire crew. And all of a sudden, these 2 big guys walked in. One of them was Marcus McNeil. He thought it was the Chargers holiday dinner, and he went right for the dessert. He had the ice cream. Then he went over to the officials, started talking to Tony Correnti's crew. He said, I kind of figured this wasn't our party. Chris Johnson.
They're going to get him his 100. And he's right on the edge, probably around 95.
98.
98 right there.
on 16 carries.
He's had, I mean, obviously this game hasn't gone the way he would like it to have gone, but he's having a phenomenal year. And that goes without saying, but he does it week in and week out. He's got himself with 9 straight. This will be his 10th on this carry. It's 10th straight 100-yard game.
Ooh, Johnson.
Maybe not.
Gave Johnson the first down. The pass hits.
That's
Justin Gage.
Yeah,
Wasn't ready for it.
He's got to get his head around and hands faster. The ball was right there.
You know, one of the other things too, Matt, and we'll take a look at it again. But you know, you take a look at Vince Young's numbers and talk about some of these turnovers. But Tennessee's defensive inability to stop San Diego got Tennessee into a very one-dimensional style offense as well. There's Kerry Collins, the backup quarterback who started the year and went 0-6.
His receivers dropped a ton of balls on him.
Chris Johnson. Weddle hanging on by an ankle. Tackles him after a gain of 11. Johnson 18 carries, now 110 yards. But you know, the defense couldn't get any stops either.
Well, defensively, they killed themselves with penalties. They couldn't get any pressure with their front four. And I'll be perfectly frank with you. This San Diego defense, they don't get very much pressure. Ron Rivera has to dial up blitzes to get pressure. They really missed Jamal Williams. And then they're not getting what they had been getting out of Sean Merriman off the edge. And he's nursing a foot injury.
Johnson with 10 straight, over 100. Kenny Britt has a step.
Put him in the hands.
Beat Cromartie down the sideline.
Yeah, you gotta lay out for that. That's gotta be, you gotta put that one in your back pocket. He got on top of Cromartie, and Vince Young had him. And Kenny Britt's just a young player. Now see how he's tracking the ball with his hands? Now he's got the difference between a good play and a great play. That's the difference right there. You've got to make the catch. You make the catch, takes you to another level.
Britt came into the game with 40 catches.
Kid's gonna be a good player. He's on the front end of that learning curve.
Britt Cromartie jawing a little bit. Chris Johnson nowhere to go this time. Eric Weddle played a pretty big ball game tonight for San Diego. Makes the tackle, loss of 2.
Weddle always plays good. I liked him out of Utah. He's always around the football, you know, and when you look at safeties, safeties are hard. They're really hard because safeties always equal scheme. Because those are the guys who do all the adjustments. You drop them down or you move them, may double, cover guys. All those things come out of the safety spots. And one of the hallmarks when you look at a safety is if they're around the football. That guy's always around the football.
So Young faces a 3rd and 12. Blitz on with Weddle. Pick it up. Young's pass. Incomplete. Quentin Jammer knocked it away. Kenny Britt.
And the reason he knocked it away is because Britt's got to come back to that ball. Remember how we saw Vincent Jackson earlier on that sideline catch, and he came back to the ball? That's what Kenny Britt's got to be able to do. Watch him up here on the top side. Here's the ball. Now come back to it. Don't stop. Keep coming. Keep coming, and you have a completion.
So Brett Kern comes in to punt the football away with 11:59 to go in the ball game.
Hopefully, you would hope that you would see, if you're a Chargers fan, Volek instead of Rivers.
Kern takes the high snap with pressure. Gets it away to Sproles. Will let it come to rest inside the 15 at the 13-yard line. 41-yard punt. Well, Philip Rivers, he's done for the night as Billy Bullock was getting ready to come in. Philip gave him a nice little pat. Philip Rivers, 21 of 27, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns, 9 different receivers, 7 completions of 20 or more yards.
Having himself a holly jolly Christmas.
Tolbert tripped up by Derek Marks, the rookie out of Auburn, gain of 2. And get a look at Billy Volek, who's attempted 1 pass this year in his 10th year out of Fresno State. Came into the league as a free agent with Tennessee back in 2000. signed by, or brought to San Diego in a trade in 2006.
Smart player, knows his role, supports the main guy.
Second and 8, Tolbert takes it and fights to the 19-yard line. Well, you take a look at the playoff picture. Indy's wrapped up the #1 seed. San Diego about to secure the #2 seed. Baltimore plays Pittsburgh. Tennessee is done. This is their 8th conference loss. They're 4-8 in the conference. Baltimore, big game at Pittsburgh. Denver has to go to Philadelphia. The Jets take on Indianapolis this weekend.
I'll tell you, that Philadelphia team is playing well. And then you have Indianapolis with the Jets.
Well, you know, we've had a chance to see Indianapolis, and now San Diego. San Diego, they've knocked Indy out of the playoffs the last couple of years as Hester takes the handoff and picks up a first down after a gain of 6. You know, styles make fights, and that's one style that for San Diego has always, they've matched up very well.
They match up very well. And here's the other thing with this San Diego. They believe that they can beat that Indianapolis team. They know they can beat the Indianapolis team. And it's not anything they say. They know it. They've done it before. They've been in that situation before, and they know how to play them. And so if you're Indianapolis, you got to keep your edge. And so I believe what Jim Caldwell's doing is right. I think you play your players. You don't let them have it. You know, you can take them out when you want later on, but I know how Peyton Manning felt when he told us last week. He wants to play. He wants to keep his edge.
Tolbert on the run to the 30, picks up 5. We had a chance to see Indianapolis last week on Thursday Night Football as they picked up their 23rd consecutive regular season win, 7 wins after trailing in the 4th quarter. They've got the Jets at home on Sunday, then they finish up at Buffalo.
Well, just looking at that Jets game, they're not going to be able to run very well in that New York Jet. That New York Jet defense is pretty darn good. And their offensive line's a good offensive line.
Well, and that's the key. The Jets are going to want to get a steady dose of Thomas Jones and Sean Green to keep that Indianapolis offense off the field.
You know, Steve Mariucci said something good on the pregame show about that matchup. You take Darrelle Revis and you lock him up on the one side, Reggie Wayne, and that takes Wayne out of it. The problem is that Peyton Manning finds everybody. Could be, well, they finally got a turnover.
Jacob Hester coughed it up, recovered by Tennessee. So it'll be the first turnover of the night for San Diego. Tony Brown recovered the fumble.
With a nice hit.
Well, to add insult to injury, Jacob Hester fumbled the football and he got hurt.
Yeah, it looks like he's, yeah, who knows? Take a guess, but I'm always wrong.
So the first turnover for San Diego here in the ball game. Tennessee will take over at the 33. Chris Johnson picks up 3 on the play.
Yeah, watch McCourty as he hits Hester, and he hits right on the ball, right, boink, right there, helmet on the ball, and then he reaches out with that left arm to try to grab it, but that's when there's a lot of stuff going on underneath there.
Tony Brown recovered the fumble, and Billy Volek and Vince Young shaking hands. Billy Volek, of course, a former Titan, traded the year that Vince Young was drafted, 2006. Johnson again. Chris Johnson.
There you go.
How good is he?
They see Cromartie at the end there. Give him a pat on the head. Congratulate him. That's good stuff.
30 yards on the touchdown run for Johnson. His 12th rushing touchdown of the season.
That puts him at 142 yards. Which puts him at 1872. Once he's through that level, now this is, see here, there's the strength, and then it's the speed. And then Cromartie at the end of that thing knows he's not going to get there. But he just wants to get over there to congratulate him.
Baronis for the extra point. And he knocks it through. So with 8:02 to go, it's 42-17 now as Chris Johnson uses his awareness
And Chris
Speed.
Johnson uses his speed, and you can see he knows he's fast.
Yeah.
But he's just, those guys, they run as fast as they have to. Deion was the same way. And I said this in the pregame show, and I'll say it again, and I firmly believe this. Had Deion Sanders not played in the National Football League, he would have hung some gold medals around his neck for USA. That's how fast he was. I believe he'd have won. He would have been an Olympic sprinting champion. And he brought that speed to this league, and it set him apart from everybody. And now this guy, Chris Johnson, brings that speed, and it sets him apart as well.
Now as Baronis gets set to kick it off, officials reset the clock.
How about Ron Rivera talking about how fast he is and how he put together that.
He had put together a clip of some of his explosive runs, and he said after the first 4 plays, I scared myself, and I stopped showing it to the team once he broke free. I just wanted to show my guys this is how he got to that point. He didn't want to show them the rest of the run because he was scaring himself, and he didn't want to scare his defense.
Said he wanted a highlight film, not a horror film.
Baronis is going to kick it away with 8:02 to go. Fans wanted the onside kick. Sproles on the return. Sproles out to the 33-yard line. Return of 26.
Remember I told you at the end,
Tackle by
Cromartie knew he had no shot at getting him, but he ran over there to congratulate him. And I think that's good sportsmanship right there. And Cromartie, a Pro Bowler himself, players know players, and players know when there's greatness happening. Right there, that guy, there's some greatness happening with Chris Johnson, and Cromartie just wanted to congratulate him.
I don't remember you congratulating people after scoring. Colbert on the run, powers his way to the 40-yard line. McGrath on the tackle, gain of 7. That's how the game has changed a little bit.
The game's changed a lot, but some things don't change. And the one thing that never changes is great talent. And that's one right there. Chris Johnson with his gold teeth. I asked him about his gold chompers there yesterday. He said, no, they're in there for good.
They got him in the 12th grade.
He said, we had them surgically put in, and they're not coming out.
I saw him on the pregame show. He had a chance to meet Faith Hill. She said she liked the gold teeth.
What a great kid, though, huh? Had a nice chat with him, and boy, knows who he is, comfortable with himself, knows what he's doing is special.
Look at Tolbert. All the way to the 40-yard line, picks up 20. Earlier, he took off his helmet.
Well,
His earrings were bothering him.
The chompers are one thing, but the earrings, they can come out. That's the easy part.
I always wondered how guys play with the earrings.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he's just taking him out to give him to Faith Hill. Who knows?
He's had him out all game.
What a talented guy. And you're just on the front end of it. There's going to be a lot of years with him running.
Run to Tennessee 40. Bullock gives to Tolbert again. And Tolbert fights to get back to the line of scrimmage. Tolbert again on 2nd down. Let's take a look at the NFC playoff picture. It's a lot less muddled than the AFC.
This team's starting to play pretty darn good. They need to. The Giants are not out of it, but they need help. Here's the team. That's the hot team right now. Philadelphia with Andy Reid's group. They've got some players who can. They got an excellent receiving core, and they're running the football. And that's a good team.
And Philadelphia wraps up the regular season at Dallas.
Ooh, that's going to be fun.
In week 17.
That will be fun. Green Bay's also playing pretty good.
Green Bay has Seattle this week.
Keep your eye on the Giants, though. They're not done yet.
They'll play their final regular season game in Giant Stadium as Colbert takes the handoff and picks up 9 on a 3rd and 10. You know, we were talking about the Cowboys and Redskins who play on Sunday night. You played for Washington. That game between those two teams, it's almost reminiscent of a college game, the atmosphere, no matter what the records are.
Take this past Monday and throw it out. And that team will be ready to play Dallas. Dallas better be ready to play their best football game because Washington's going to give them a heck of a game.
Speaking of Eagles, you see number 79 for San Diego, the right tackle, Jon Runyan.
Big John.
Bad knee injury. He was signed as a free agent on November the 25th. Trying to get him some reps here in San Diego. 4th and 1. Colbert hit behind the line, but he finds enough to get the first down of the 29.
And see who they ran behind? Big Jon Runyan.
Jon Runyan. Jon Runyan.
Out of Flint, Michigan. Played in Philadelphia, played
For
the
Houston.
Oilers, and now in San Diego. Just a big old mauler, never makes a mistake, very smart, great intensity, not afraid of a fight, uses his hands well, always liked him.
Let's see John back playing in the NFL. You know, with that knee injury that he had last year, thought it could be done for him. He even did some work on NFL Europa here on NFL Network. Did a little announcing.
And did well.
Colbert pounding his way to the 21.
And you know, they're getting him some playing time, and Dombrowski is the guy who's been doing the starting. Number 62, but Big Jon Runyan is talking to him before the game. He got his weight down. Says he has to play himself into shape, but he wants to be ready. So if anything does happen, he can jump right in. And Norv Turner really loves the leadership, loves the smarts, loves the toughness, loves the attitude.
In his 14th year out of Michigan, made the Pro Bowl in 2002. Spent 4 years with Houston and Tennessee before spending 9 years with the Eagles. Colbert on a 2nd and 2, refusing to go down until he gets the first down as bodies are flying everywhere.
There's people still, people in the stands. They just want this thing, either get a touchdown or get a score or whatever, but they want to be able to see Chris Johnson have another crack at running the football.
2-minute warning. San Diego's going to just take a knee up 42-17. Matt, it's been a great season. This is our final game of the year here on NFL Network. I want to thank Ed Svita for the stats in the booth and Jimmy Stamos doing the spotting. Scott Aaron's our stage manager, our cameraman Rob Menschel, and Brian Malillo handling the audio here in the booth. It's been a lot of fun.
It's been a lot of fun, and special thanks to my guy downstairs, Sean Coffey. He's got some great eyes.
And Mark Tottleman, his first year as producer. Thanks to Pete Macheska, and of course, the one and only Craig Janoff, our director, bringing you all the pictures and some great shots during the course of the year, and all the men and women that have made it possible for us to each and every week bring you these games. It's been a lot of fun. Bullock will take another knee with 1:13 to go. So San Diego, you know, they talked about how important it was to kind of get that bye and give them a chance to rest and heal up a little bit, and they've taken care of. They didn't want it to go to week 17. They didn't want to go and have to play in week 17 to lock up the number 2. So get it done now. Let's heal up.
Yeah, they got it done. And there's a lot of football left in front of this team. And one of the things they can do is match up pretty well. Especially if you look at a team like Indianapolis, they have the 2 corners who can match up outside. The one thing that's a concern is they do not rush the passer well. They don't get a lot of pressure without bringing pressure.
And that'll be the final play. Antonio Gates had a touchdown tonight. Sean Merriman and the San Diego Chargers win it 42-17.